I just want to say thank you to our sponsors tonight. And look how hard it is to be a kid these days. Look how hard it is to be an adult these days. I want you to just think about what's going on right now. Take a moment to just think. When I was a kid, and I was maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, I don't know. We had a television set. There were lots of programs. I think there were 12, maybe 11. And there was this one station called UHF that was randomly sometimes broadcasting stuff and not. And so sometimes at the end of the evening, they played the American anthem, or they played music, or they had the American flag, or they had some porky character that said, be back later or something. I don't know. No programs being broadcast. And every once in a while, someone would get in one of those broadcast rooms and they would broadcast porn out of, like, say, channels in the Bay Area that broadcast through the entire Bay Area. So a lot of people kept those channels on all night long, even though all it did was play snow. There wasn't much going on. I literally can get on this internet and I could probably put 1970s television images and sounds of snow. Let's see if I don't know what will come up, if they even know what I mean by that. Snow. They think I mean snow, like actual snow. Nope, it was, wow, I'm about to go there, but look at this, the blackface. What do you think about that? What do you think about what you see right here? Just take a look. Let me see if I can make this image a little bigger. I just went 1970s television, and look at the images that came up. What do you see? TV shows that went too far and then got canceled. Well, yeah, when I was a kid in the 70s, that was not something that, let's make that a little bigger so you can see just exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? I mean, who would think? That you'd mess up a picture with some guy's butt sticking out like that. But they did that in those days. Blackface was definitely a thing on TV, and it was normalized. White people dressing like black people, making fun of them in some weird way. I don't understand it. But they don't even know what I mean. The TV didn't work. There was no channels. There was nothing. When you turned on the TV, there was nothing at all. There was no television programming. It was just this noise that went and it just played nothing. But this is what I grew up on. Let's just scroll through here. 1970s TV shows. I have no idea, right? How stupid are the $6 Million Man, right? Shows like that. Farrah Fawcett. How dumb. How stupid. So how inane and how ridiculous. Okay? Seriously, a 1970s superhero show. I think this guy was on, didn't he get on Taxi or something? I don't know. I can't remember the guy's name. I got rid of my television set in 1984. I did it for a reason. I didn't like the fact that I was watching this inane stupidity and celebration of idiots, just idiots. Like, look at this young girl. This is Marsha Brady, okay? This is Marsha Brady. She's playing the role of maybe a 15-year-old girl, if I'm not mistaken. Look at the way she's sitting, and look at the way the camera angles are focused on her. No wonder she had problems with drugs and being sexualized later. No wonder they took advantage of her. Okay, when I was a kid, I used to watch this guy named Captain Kangaroo, but now someone's colored his eyes and tried to make him evil. It's just Captain Kangaroo just introduced cartoons. Hey, what's up? That's my dog. Dumb, stupid, big boobs, no brains, blondes, 1970s and 80s. Big boobs, get on TV, right? 70s and 80s, right? Do stupid stuff, get on TV, 70s and 80s. This guy here who's bald now, he was popular back then, and people wondered then if he was straight or not. I think the person who knows the most about whether he's straight is Olivia Newton-John. If you ask Olivia Newton-John, did this guy get aroused around you at all? And she says no. That's all you need to hear. Answers that question. Anyway, just dumb. And that was my life. Oh, the 70s show, they tried to recreate the 70s by making stuff that was 70s era stuff and some actors within that sort of a skit. Then the most popular shows of the 70s, Mary Tyler Moore, All in the Family. So this lady here, Mary Tyler Moore, there was a show. She was a great actress. She was in the Dick Van Dyke Show. She was a very, very wonderful actress, just a wonderful person. This guy here, Carroll O'Connor, he played what would be now like a very sort of white, racist, idiot, sort of stupid person who just had these racist views. And this was Henry Winkler, who played Fonzie, or the Fonz, and he got this role being cool. He went up against Ricky, or what was the dude's name from the Monkees? One of these guys from the Monkees, and he got the role because he came up with this, hey, be cool, man, or whatever he said. I don't know. Whatever it was, he was popular. I hated these kinds of shows. The Partridge Family was fucking stupid. They didn't even sing. They just pretended to play instruments, whatever. In reality, this guy here, David Cassidy, had sex with her and the mom. Literally, like they had sex with each other. Not on the TV show. Okay, so we're clear. Outside the context of the actual filming of the TV show, this man playing like a 17-year-old high schooler is having sex with this 35-year-old woman. And then you got Danny Partridge, who's this guy who ended up with a crazy drug habit and stuff. And then this girl here, they didn't sing. He sang, I believe, and she might have actually played an instrument or something, but it was just fake. Oh my God, this stupid show, fucking A, this is so goddamn dumb. This show, I accidentally hit that. Sorry, didn't mean to hit that. I have no idea what's about to come up. What I saw was... Did you know most dish soaps don't remove all the... Those ladies down there. Farrah Fawcett, something, maybe Jackson or something. Kate Jackson, maybe, or something like that. And then this other chick, she was hot. Oh. Anyway, everybody liked Farrah Fawcett. I didn't like her much. The hair, though, she set off a hair wave, literally a wave of hair wave, where everybody had to have that hair. Boys, girls, everybody. I know people that went to sleep at night, they would shape their hair, and then they would get a hat, one of those hats, like those wool hats, and they would roll it down from the top, and they would spray stuff on it, and they would sleep at night with that ski mask over their fucking head. They would sleep in a ski mask and roll it all the way down, hold that hair in place, and then let it out the next morning. Hey, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? What you doing? What you doing? Anyway, that's a dumb TV show. My point is, here's the problem. Imagine you're a kid today. I had ADHD so bad. Still have it. Doesn't go away. And my dog clearly has ADHD. He's in, play with me, right? So I get on this computer to, it's going to be one of my true stories of the first case of selective mutism. So I'm going to type in, I think it's called elective mutism now, so let me check. I haven't worked with it in a while. All right, so let's try the DSM-5 and see what it says. Here we go. Okay, so selective mutism, DSM-5, and you see where it says there it says here 312.23, and then in parentheses it says F94.0. That means that this is the ICD code which starts with a 3. This is the ICD-10 code that starts with the F, that's all. According to the DSM-5, and that little V shape is a Roman numeral 5. They don't use that anymore, so that's actually outdated. It should not say DSM with that V. It should actually say DSM-5 here. DSM-5, selective mutism, is a childhood disorder typified by an inability to speak in certain circumstances. Take that in. Specifically, it is a consistent failure to speak in certain social situations where there is a natural expectation of speaking. And then it says American Psychiatric Association 2013. 2013 is when the DSM-5 came out. And so this is the DSM-5. There is a DSM-5 TR, which is the updated version. I don't believe they did anything to this diagnosis to update it. For instance, a child, blah, blah, blah. So you can learn a lot about the DSM-5 criteria. Let's see if this person over here, this is like a little B, so what's that mean? Bing, right? You could go whatever route you want to go. And let's see if I can figure out a way to make this a little easier to read. If you have questions about certain things, you can certainly go to the internet. You can get some good general information on the internet. All right. Here's where you got to be careful. This book is trademarked. This is just some crap on the internet, and so is that. So remember that. According to the DSM-5, selective mutism is a childhood anxiety disorder. What that means is that they would characterize it as a disorder that falls into a class of anxiety disorders. I actually would argue against that. According to the DSM-5, selective mutism is a childhood anxiety disorder characterized by an inability to speak in certain social situations where there is a natural expectation of speaking. It is typified by a consistent failure to speak in certain social situations where there is a natural expectation of speaking. Okay, so here's the problem with what has just been said here. They're saying multiple things. They're trying to tell you it's an anxiety disorder, and I'm telling you I disagree with that. I have cases of working on selective mutism where it was most definitely not an anxiety disorder. In the vast majority of cases of selective mutism that I've worked in, it was not an anxiety disorder. There was a motivation for the child not to speak. I have to admit, I've never worked in anything other than in children, so I don't know if there's I've never diagnosed selective mutism in anything other than children, not in adults or anything else. In some cases, maybe you could start to go in the direction of a conversion disorder, and maybe you could say voice itself. But this is childhood anxiety disorder. If the child has a motivation not to speak and is rewarded in these other situations, there might be a big reward or a big payoff. There might not be any anxiety whatsoever. It may be just because they don't want to talk. And if they don't talk, other people talk for them. Other people treat them like they're broken, so they take care of them and do everything for them. I could go on and on. But different cases have different presentations, and they were definitely not all anxiety disorders. Not even half of them were anxiety disorders where I had to deal with selective mutism. So then you could say, well, maybe if you have an anxiety disorder, selective mutism or mutism in certain situations might be a manifestation of the anxiety itself. That's fine. Then you would diagnose an anxiety disorder with characteristics of selective mutism, in my opinion, but you wouldn't diagnose selective mutism believing that you're going to be treating an anxiety disorder. If you treat an anxiety disorder, let's just say, theoretically, you reduce the anxiety, then the person's going to talk. You can take these people and put them in a situation where there is zero anxiety. There is zero. They're perfectly comfortable. They're simply not motivated to talk. That's how that can happen sometimes. All right, so then what you really want to do is you want to go to the DSM, right? And again, there is a DSM-5 TR. And then you go to the back and you start, oh, how do I look something up? Well, you look for the letter M or S, either one probably, and find it somewhere in here. These are all disorders, by the way. I think selective mutism, 189, 195, 197. Okay, so let's see what it says here. Where is it? Sorry. Oh, right there. Okay. Let me see. Selective mutism, associated features supporting diagnosis. That's the page we need. Comorbidity with, that means what can happen with it or what typically is seen with it. Culture-related diagnostic issues. That's important because sometimes you're not really thinking about the culture. In some cultures, some sexes, like girls, are not encouraged to speak in certain cultures. You got to kind of think about that. Development and course of, what can you expect to happen? Diagnostic criteria, back to page 195. Diagnostic features. Differential diagnosis, that's important. You should know what it might also be. Functional consequences of, prevalence of, that means the amount of it in the population, more or less, at any given time. Risk and prognostic factors, what might cause it. So you'd really want to just go to page 195, basically. And as you see, it is in the anxiety disorders classification. So let's see what they say about that. Anxiety disorders include disorders that share features of excessive fear and anxiety and related behavioral disturbances, period. I disagree. If you're gonna put selective mutism in that category, then you have to accept the fact that there are cases where that is not the case. That is absolutely not the case. There is no 100% correlation with selective mutism and an anxiety disorder in any case. So if you were to send a bill to the insurance company and bill it as a 312.23, you wouldn't get paid. If you billed it as a F94.0, get paid. Diagnostic criteria: consistent failure to speak in specific social situations in which there's an expectation for speaking, example at school, despite speaking in other situations. I was a school-based counselor and a school-based therapist, so a lot of my experience is with young kids, school age. The disturbance interferes with educational or occupational achievement or with social communication. The duration of the disturbance is at least 1 month, not limited to the first month of school. That's good. Probably should even be longer than that, maybe the first 3 or 4 months of school. The failure to speak is not attributable to a lack of knowledge, for example, of English, and so they're afraid to talk because they don't know the language, or comfort with, they don't know the teacher, they've never been in school before. It's absolutely the first time they've ever been away from their mom. They're 8 years old. They came out of some jungle area, and they watched their father kill somebody with a machete right in front of them. And they are so violent at 8 years old that they beat their own mother, and their father approves. But here they are in West Sac at your school, and the kid all of a sudden breaks down and starts crying because he's never been away from his mom before. And you're thinking, Wow. Yeah, but I mean, they just landed in Sacramento. They just literally left the jungles in the area where in Mexico the Mayan culture is basically. And so, here they are in West Sacramento 3 days later, and you enroll them in school, and it's a school that speaks Spanish primarily in West Sac. So there's the kid, third grade, never been to school, never been away from his mom, never been out in the big world, really. Big adventure. And then all of a sudden, mom drops him off at the front of the school and leaves, and the kid's crying. Same kid in my office attacked his mom. Boy, I learned a lot about that family, but anyway, it was cool. I got the other kids to help him. I said, okay, when he's in the back of the classroom and he looks sad, all you guys, you're going to speak Spanish and stuff, and just tell him, it's okay. And this kid was twice their size, and they were like, pobrecito, pobrecito, come, vaya conmigo, whatever it was they said, they'd be like, come play with us and stuff. And he was crying and stuff. I was bribing the kids with candy, man, whatever. Anyway, so he refused to speak, man. He wasn't speaking at all. The teacher was really worried. He wouldn't talk. It went on for like a long time. And, finally I just bribed all the other kids to help him. Anyway, the disturbance is not better explained by a communication disorder. Example, child onset fluency disorder. Okay, that could be stuttering or something like that. And does not occur exclusively during the course of autism. Oh, that's important. Autism spectrum disorder, schizophrenia, or another psychotic disorder. Very important. All right, I'm just going to say this. I had family come up to me. The kid was 8 years old. They said he had a diagnosis of autism. They put him on a very, very strict diet. They worked at the school. Really cool people. I couldn't tell the kid had autism. And they said he wasn't speaking for a couple years. They took him off of all certain substances, including all kinds of breads and all kinds of other things. And they really got picky with his diet. And they reintroduced food over a period of a certain amount of time. And they eventually said he just started talking when they took him off of all gluten. I don't know. See, you hear stuff like this and you wonder, man, is some of the stuff we're causing a result of something that's going on? Is the kid peeling lead paint strips off the side of the wall in the bathroom and eating them, and they maybe need to be tested? So before you start running down this road of willfulness and anxiety and all that stuff, go to a doctor and get an assessment, man. Blood panel, urinalysis, I don't know, check for allergies. I have no idea. This is a medical text. Come on. This is not a mental health text. This is a medical book. All right, diagnostic features. We already went through all this stuff. Associated features and supporting diagnosis, prevalence, developmental course, risk and prognosis. See all that stuff that we saw in the back. And then it goes on to the next anxiety disorder, which is a specific phobia, which in fact is an anxiety-based disorder. This is sometimes willful. I've run into it at least 50-60% of the time. It's willful. There's some reward they want there. So you have all these different disorders. Look at the differential diagnosis on one of these disorders, right? I mean, what disorder is that? Sorry, I'm curious. Separation anxiety disorder. Wow. Look at all that they have to say about separation anxiety disorder. Okay. And again, that's a developmental thing. And then all those differential diagnoses, all those diagnoses that you should know before you go diagnosing something. Selective mutism, there was only a few differential diagnoses. So you had communication disorders for sure, okay, neurodevelopmental disorders and schizophrenia and other psychotic disorders. So I've been trained in speech-language pathology. So I actually, outside my practice as a LMFT, I'm qualified to say, based on my training and experience, I can diagnose and treat a lot of these things that many LMFTs cannot, because I have the training and experience of pursuing this as a speech-language pathologist. But I did that for reasons of wanting to understand more about language and typical development and some other stuff. But neurodevelopmental disorders, you would think neurologist, right? So doctor. Disorders and schizophrenia, doctors, right? Every kind of medication that treats schizophrenia, doctors. Psychotic disorders, doctors. Social anxiety disorder, might help to get that looked at by a doctor for sure. So again, you're really looking at things where you need to get a neurologist, you need to get maybe an MRI, maybe you need to get some other tests done, maybe blood drawn. You need to if you get on these medications, you need to manage these medications. Anyway, so here's the kid. The kid is okay, she's a first grader. So first grade kid. This story was interesting, in my opinion, for several reasons. The dog is playing with his little ball there. What are you chewing on? What are you chewing on? What are you chewing on? What? Go get it. Go get it. Where is it? Where is it? What? He got it. Let me see. Come here. What? I got it. He got it. He's a good guy. He's a good boy. Come here. What? Did he get it again? Did he get it again? Is he a good boy? Is he a good boy? What? Okay, so this kid was thirsty, man. Sorry. Brought to you by Stewart's Fountain Classics. Key lime, 180 calories. Mm-hmm. Look at that. Look at that, baby. That really seriously tastes like key lime. I don't really like soda. Oh, wow. That sounds pretty good. Anyway, here's the deal. Okay, no. Good dog. No. All right. I believe, if I remember correctly, she was 6 years old. I believe she was Middle Eastern. And her parents had traditional dress. But she did not. The school was in Union City. I was in the first year of my grad program in my master's in counseling. And so I already had a bachelor's in psych. And the program was called the Ed Psych program. Oh, one of my teachers, if you think I maybe didn't go to a certain prestigious enough level of school, one of my teachers was Daryl Wing Sue in the program I was in. It was a pretty good program. Anyway, the principal at the school took a leave of absence from the, I think she was in the ed psych department too, or maybe she was in special ed or some, I don't remember anymore. I don't remember. Anyway, she had a school, she became a principal, and it had, say, like, I don't know, 600 kids or something like that in Union City. And it was by the Walmart, that's all I'll say. And so my first gig, I got this first grader. And the teacher is on, yeah, okay, so then we had how did that go? We had a long-term sub. Okay, so we had a first grader, and the teacher got sick, And in the past, the kid had been kindergarten, 0 speech. However, she had eval by the school, and they determined she had normal speech. Okay? Now, here's what happened. I watched her, and she didn't speak at all. And I saw the teacher sitting there. This is pretty common. Teacher's up here, is teaching, reading a book, right? And here's the kids all over the classroom, and they're all sitting there. And I noticed this one little girl sitting here, and she's the one that cannot speak. And then there's one kid here, and 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 one kid here. All girls. All girls. So, girl, 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 girl. And like over here, there's like a boy and a boy and, other kids all through the class. But she literally had a circle of girls around her. And when I began working on my referral to counseling, and I'm an intern, I'm not even an LMFTI yet. I'm an intern. I just remembered, I'm a trainee. This is my first site. Yeah, it was my first 6 months. Anyway, so I watch her, and the kids, when I try to get this kid, there's a door in the classroom, and there's this glass, and so I can watch in the classroom, and then they cannot see out. They can't see out. So I'm in this little pod area, and it leads into, classroom over here, and, the classroom over here, and, there's a class over here, right? And then inside here, there's like a copier, all that stuff. So I can watch the kids, and the teachers come in and stuff. Who are you watching? I'm watching, this kid. So I got a lot of feedback. Oh, yeah, I had her. She was my kid in kindergarten. She doesn't talk, blah, blah, blah. So I heard a lot about this kid first. And they all said, yeah, whatever. So I went out to recess, and I watched the kid out recess. And these kids are very smart. So they realized that I was watching her. And so they said, she can't talk. That's what they said. And I knew that to not be true, so I didn't make a big deal about it. A couple days later, a week later, whatever, when I got back to the school, I decided I wanted to watch her in the cafeteria. So in the morning for breakfast, her parents were traditional dress Middle Eastern, so her mother would walk in the cafeteria with her. And no matter how many times we reassured these families that there was no pork at all in any food at all in the entire school district, no pork, 0, even though it was called pepperoni pizza or pepperoni breakfast pizza or whatever the hell they called it, there was no pork, and she didn't need to worry about it. But some of these parents, man, they all the way through school, they'll show up and they'll look at every single food that kid's eating, man. They're very, very strict about this stuff. So in her traditional dress with her veil on and everything, man, the mom would be there. But the mom was talking to the dad, and the dad was talking to me, and then she had an older sister, and they said, we have no problem with her at home. She's fine at home, because the staff had suggested she's being sexually abused. Obviously, that was a big deal. They wanted her looked at because that's what they thought. So I was like, whatever. So anyway, she'd been evaluated. Speech said, nope, she's fine. Now I saw for myself, she's fine. And now I saw the kids say, she can't talk. And I knew what her motivation was. She had control over those other kids. They talked for her. They sat her down. They served her food. All she had to do was nod her little head and like barely move her hand and just give the slightest look on her face, and they'd all be like, oh, are you okay? Are you all right? Will you sit with us? And they'd bring her food. She was like a pet. She was like a doll. Anyway, that was just one case. Not an anxiety disorder. Not at all. She was loving it. Anyway, so the teacher, of course, she didn't like me because she didn't believe my hypothesis. The teacher got sick, unfortunately. She actually did get quite ill. And so they brought a long-term teacher in. So this older teacher who was really looked quite healthy was actually not, and she had some serious illness. So she was going to be out for quite a while. And they brought in a long-term sub who looked like she could have been Santa Claus's wife. Anyway, so she didn't know the history of this kid. She didn't know the history like all the teachers did. She didn't know the history, and everybody's suspecting child abuse. Oh shit, man. I mean, come on. This is like in 2000 and God, what the hell was this, man? 1997, 8, 9, so 9. Yeah, 1997, 8, 9. So there was a lot of Middle Eastern hatred, and so they thought, oh yeah, it's Middle Eastern people, you know, they're probably, all these people are probably abusing her. It's probably some kind of ritualistic child abuse or some shit. So whatever, man. Anyway, I had to deal with all that crap, and turns out obviously not the case, as you'll soon find out. So this long-term sub comes in, and so she didn't know the story. So I was there like on her second day. So she saw me watching the kid, and I was like, oh hey, yeah. So I told her why I was there, and I said, would you do me a favor, please? And so she did, and I said, I want you to do something. These other kids are going to fight it, but I want you to do something. And no matter what happens, I need you to act as if it doesn't matter at all. Act like it's the most boring thing you've ever seen in your life. It's no big deal, but I want you to expect this kid to talk. I want you to ask her a question at some point in time when there's no other kids. You don't know her. She doesn't know you. I want you to get her to come up over to you when there's no other kids. After all the kids have told you, she can't talk, you know, whatever. After the teachers and the principal and vice principal and everyone else has said, she can't talk. Just expect her to talk. She talks fine. So the teacher was like, oh, okay. So she was cool. And one day I was actually watching, and she called the little girl up. She had people coming up, and they had to show her some work. So I said, oh, this is perfect. So do it now. When she comes up, make her say something. I don't care if she utters a single syllable. I don't care if she goes, I don't care if it sounds like a burp almost. I don't care if it's any kind of sound at all. Hear it, and then just nod and say, good job, and then go to the next kid. And whatever she says, make it no big deal. I did not expect what happened to happen, but whatever happened, happened. So anyway, whatever. So she's doing something, and finally one day it happened, and there she was. She came up, and I saw it, and the teacher said, come here, and man couldn't do this probably, but the teacher's, come here, I can't hear you, and she got the kid to put her mouth right next to her ear, and she said something to her, and then some of the other kids heard her talk. Oh man, it erupted the whole class. It was crazy, man. They go, she can talk. Dude, it was like a movie, man. It was like a miracle, man. It was like Willy Wonka, the original one, not the horrible one that Johnny Depp absolutely made a mockery of and just destroyed. Anyway, it was just magical, like the Willy Wonka with Gene Wilder, the correct interpretation. And just beautiful and wonderful and just incredible moment of the kids in the class just seeing, like, wow, as if a miracle had happened, man. Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, and everything at once. I wasn't ready for that. I didn't know what to do. I was on the other side of the glass, so I didn't have to do anything. But the teacher did. Teacher had to quiet it down, man. It was like Santa Claus's reindeer walked in the classroom. Fuck. Anyway, man, the gig was up after that. I was fucking done. I was done, man. That was it. I didn't work with her anymore after that. I didn't want to. I said, what's the point, man? The game's over with. Anyway, so selective mutism, that's a real true story. I don't know. Hopefully somebody learned something from that.